Hello, welcome to the newest episode of Robin Live. I am just your host. Really, I am. My name is John. I'm your host. Robin's over here off to the side. She is who the show is named after. So let's say hi to everyone who's in there. Hi, Kim. Hi, Chris. Hi, you guys.
Hey, everyone.
So Robin, of course, is here, and she's doing what she usually does. You'll be joining me in a couple minutes.
Yeah.
Hopefully, quickly. Weather. Could be a weather alert.
Yeah.
I don't know, though. I don't know. Stores were crazy today. I will tell you. The stores were really, really nuts. Yeah, right. Kim says, who is Robin? Laughing face. If she's over here, yeah, my name's not Robin. Someone said that the other day to me that watches the show. Like, who's Robin? That was actually, it's funny she says that. I said, well, someday you're going to show someday you'll be on. Yeah, whenever you're ready.
Yeah.
Oh, no rush. We're not pushing. So yeah, weather possibilities, Robin, this weekend, maybe, or tomorrow. I don't know, but Wegmans was wild. Aldi's was wild today. I mean, I'm talking packed. You would have thought it was end of times type stuff.
God.
I never seen so many people. It was nice for Instacart though.
Yeah.
Because that just meant I had more orders to fulfill, which was good. The worse the weather, the better the Instacarting. It really is. It makes sense, I guess. You know, but the places were packed. So if you're going to the store, you know what, get ready for a long line. Oh, Kim says something nice. Robin is beautiful, so show your face. So a smile and a heart. Very nice, Kim. Yeah, it's coming. We have a guest today. Oh, our cat is starting to make some noise back there.
Yeah.
All right. Anyways, we have a guest today, Robin, and this is very nice.
I'm so excited.
Our guest today is somebody you hear on Citizens United a lot, and you guys know him. Our good friend, and he knows a lot about politics, and we're going to talk with Gerry Delzoppo. Hey, Gerry.
Hey, guys. How are you?
We're good.
I don't know about a lot, John. I don't know if I know a lot. I know some things, though.
Oh, he does.
Yeah. No, there's Noel. Hey, Noel. Yeah.
I think the people don't get enough of you on Citizens United, Gerry, so we had to bring you on.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, I think that's what happened.
I think they want more national.
Is that? Yeah, right. Well, I can help you there.
Yeah, definitely. And Kim says hello. Let's talk something real quick before Robin, she's doing what she does. Poland, that's a scary situation. 2 missiles, I guess. I'm guessing, but Russia, I don't know if anyone out there that knows, chime in the comments. I don't know if missiles went awry and hit Poland, but 2 people died in Poland.
Right.
What do you think, Gerry? That's
well,
serious.
This is one of the biggest fears when this whole thing started, that all it takes is a miscalculation on either side and you could start a war, a big war. Putin is a madman, obviously. And at this point, though, I would guess it's probably accidental. You know, they just goofed something up, but who knows? We're going to see, we'll see. But the people in Poland, at least 2 people were killed the last time I heard. And it's bad. It's a bad situation.
Yeah, I know the president here, Biden, and the president, I don't remember his name, of Poland. They had a phone call. I was watching the news.
Zelensky.
No, not the Ukraine, the Polish president.
Oh, Polish. Oh.
Yeah, him from Poland. And he said in a tweet then that basically, like, about it's a NATO country and we don't feel safe anymore. So, I mean, there comes a point where NATO is going to have to respond, I think.
Yeah, there is a point where we're going to have to respond. But it's, he's sitting there with the nuclear button threatening to use nukes, but he also knows if he uses nukes, he forfeits his own life too. I mean, it's mutual destruction that you can't, so he likes to bluff though. Putin will try to bully and bluff. He'll use conventional.
He seemed to have a good relationship with President, what was it, number 45, Trump. Them two seemed to, I don't know if there was a mutual something, but there seemed to be.
There was mutual respect. he respected Donald Trump. He knew he was smart and a good businessman, and on that basis, and Donald Trump would have not waited months and months when Russia was amassing on the Ukrainian border. Months went by and nothing was done, nothing at all. He had such a good talking situation with Putin. I bet Putin would have never made this move with Donald Trump.
Well, here's what I always thought that was crazy. When President Trump goes and talks to North Korea, okay, that was cool. But I remember President Obama saying that you should talk to your enemies. You should always talk. You shouldn't shut them out. And it's funny how then when President Trump did it, it was a problem. But it was really, I remember.
Right. And then he walked across the border and he did that photo op, obviously, but he did walk across into North Korea with snipers all around and shook his hand. That just little symbolic thing. Donald Trump had peace. He had Israel and the Arab neighbors signing peace agreements. He had it locked down tight. And you know what? When he said something, he did it with Syria and Assad. When he used his chemical weapons, he goes, don't do it, because if you do it, we'll get you. Assad did it, and they were immediately taken out, his gas weapons facility, and the Russian operatives that were operating those facilities, approximately 200, were killed in our attack because he crossed the line and Donald Trump acted on it. Well, you need that. Now,
Robin, I'm going to shall I start? I'm going to ask you. I know you're still doing what you do. Should I start? I'm going to ask Gerry about Donald Trump.
Yes.
Tonight, it sounds like about 9:30 Eastern time, there's a big announcement. And it'll be interesting for his announcement and what he's going to say about Poland tonight, because he will definitely he's going to say something. And being an ex-president, it's important to hear that. I think he's going to announce he's running tonight. He tells us that's what he's doing. It's got to be. What do you think?
Yeah. I think he's going to take the gloves off, and he's going to come out swinging. I can't see him sitting back and trying to be even, congeal. What's the right word? Congeal. What am I thinking of? When you're just trying to be nice. But he's not going to. I think he's going to go on the attack and say exactly what's going on, because we're weak. We have been weakened severely. And when America's weak, war is imminent. And as you can see with Russia, China's getting ready to invade Taiwan. North Korea is firing continuously over Japan through their airspace with ballistic missiles. Iran is closer to a nuclear weapon. And that was the crap agreement that Joe Biden and the Democrats did with Iran. You ask somebody in Israel what they think of that, and you'll see. But anyway, Donald Trump is, for whatever people think of him, he's strong. And when he says something, he means it. And that's it.
In the message board, please, any questions, anything you want to say? I'm going to read right now. Chris DeCarlo says, Mr. D, hi, Mr. D. I agree with you about President Trump, and he was the only U.S. president that ever went to North Korea, right? And right. Tina is saying hello also. Tell it, he says, Gerry. So,
hi, guys.
Then we got to, I guess, and now Robin joins us. Hi, Robin. Yes. Glad to have you with us here on your show.
Hi, Robin.
So, now, though, this is a problem. I think, okay, Kim says we need Trump back as president. This is a problem, though. He's going to announce tonight, and I don't think he can be denied. I think if he wants to be the nominee, I can't imagine a DeSantis-Trump situation where now we're having debates, because I think that how that's going to go. I don't think that's good, Gerry. I don't think they want that. I think they got to do everything they can not to have that.
It would be a smart move not to have that. That's for sure. I think the world of Governor DeSantis, I think he'll make a great president, but maybe just not now. Not now. there's going to be a lot of people that run away from Trump. Obviously, it's already started because when the heat in the kitchen gets hot, the rats run, right? So a lot of the Republicans, you saw Vice President Pence on TV, and they're all after him, but I don't think he's going to give a damn. I really don't. And that's why some people like him so much. He does exactly what he thinks is right. And you see when he was in office, how many great accomplishments he had.
Gerry, do you think that the results of the midterms weakened him?
Yes.
Yeah.
You think it was kind of a referendum on what people think of him?
Ooh.
Well, yeah, but don't forget now, you have the mainstream media working against him from the moment him and Melania came down the escalator. It has not stopped with the Russian collusion hoax, and it's now admittedly a false accusation, even though they wasted $45 million of our tax thing. Then they went on to Russian collusion. And that turned out to be a hoax, and the impeachments and ripping up the State of the Union. These people will not ever stop attacking him. That's the only card they have left. They can't run on their record. Their record is disgusting, what they've done to this country. In fact, and I'll say it to anybody out there, and prove me wrong, they are treasonous. They are absolutely treasonous. Just the southern border alone, it's purposeful. So my opinion is, when it's on purpose and with intent to hurt your own country, that's treason. But anyway, yeah, they're after Trump. They're gonna do whatever they can, and a lot of the Republicans will join in.
But I want to ask a question real quick.
Okay.
I'm sorry I went on too long, but
no, keep going. The question I want to ask is I was flipping around the channels after I was done Instacarting, and I happened to catch a thing on Fox News. And I don't know who it was that they had as a guest. And he said the reason Republicans did not do good enough, didn't do the red wave and the whole thing, is because they didn't say what they were going to do. They were just saying how bad the other side was.
Yeah, that's I would agree. I don't know though, because I've heard a lot of them say what they wanted. It's really kind of easy, isn't it? You seal the southern border, finish the wall, reinstate, get back with Mexico. Mexico had 24,000 troops on their northern and southern border to stop the caravans from coming through and turning the illegals back. So you reinstate the stay in Mexico policy, right? You finish the wall. A lot of that material has been laying on the ground ever since the sock puppet stopped it.
But if I'm not mistaken, I heard on Fox News earlier that something was passed today that will block basically the agents at the southern border from sending people back.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm talking about with intent. It's absolutely on purpose. That Mayorkas guy was been on the stand, that border czar. He denied. He said our border is secure. He looked into the camera and actually said, no. Our border's, we're working hard at this. And you don't know, and blatant lies in your face. Carmela wouldn't even go, whatever the hell her name is, Kamala. She doesn't, they begged her to go down about 3 weeks ago. That's how bad it is. She wouldn't even go. So this is vote harvesting at its best. And that's what we're using our tax dollars, our tax money, to give them free medical, free college, free housing, free food, everything. And that green light has been sent all over the world. There's at least 160 different countries involved in the invasion of the United States of America. And that's what it is, a preemptive, taxpayer-funded invasion of our southern border. And to me, that's what it's treason, absolute treason.
Here's something interesting. This just hit me, and I don't know if you knew this. In Mexico, they're using Philadelphia in ads.
Yep.
For don't do drugs. Like the people in the streets, homeless people. They're actually I saw that on multiple stations. I was like, oh my God. I mean, that's That's
Look like
crazy.
a third world country.
I
People,
saw it.
yeah. People laying on the ground. They couldn't even stand up. Feces, and this is what liberal policies have done to many of our cities. San Francisco, Los Angeles, all the big cities have this, and they want to open up, stations for shooting up and everything. They're out of their mind. I'm sorry, these people are maniacs.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That Democratic Party is no Democratic Party. Not like I grew up with. No. Mm-mm.
Well, and don't you think that the Democratic voters are at fault here too? Like, for instance, in the midterms, if they had not voted in the Democratic candidates, it would have said something about Biden. I think it would have sent a message that maybe he would have rethought running for re-election. But they
Yeah.
just continue to support him and what he does.
I think it's the Trump factor. All they do is pump you. If you vote for these candidates, you're going to have Donald Trump back as your president. And that's what they do. And they lie, they steal, they cheat. They'll do anything to stay in power. Anything. They'll bring up January 6th constantly. And I just heard a report that they think the FBI was involved in January 6th. There's a report thing on Fox News today. Here's another thing. When you mention Fox News, that's one of their killing points. Oh, Fox News, he's a Fox News. Well, that explains it. But there's a lot of information.
Let me tell you something, though, about Fox News. Fox News has changed a lot, though, too. It's not what they try to say it is as much anymore. Like, that might be Newsmax and some of the other ones.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Fox News has almost kind of shifted. Today they were arguing between two Republicans on there about Trump. You saw it.
Yeah.
And even the host. That's the one thing about Fox News is not what it used to. Like, I don't know how to put it. There's Newsmax now for what they're trying to say.
Right.
Yeah.
And Fox
You know what I
News
mean?
isn't all pro-Trump either.
No, they have Democrats on there constantly.
Yeah.
Even on the five. You've seen the five? What's her name?
Yes.
I forgot the one. And they go at it. And that's what they say, fair and balanced. They give you a chance to see both sides. Does it slant conservative? Absolutely. But that's very little compared to what Fox does. And then the rest of the whole mainstream media is in the pocket of the Democratic Party.
Dave makes a good point here. And it's something that he says these parties have to start meeting in the middle. The far left and far right has to be done. United we stand, divided we fall. Get rid of these parties and let's start being one country. Yes, absolutely. Yeah,
and that's a great idea. But that's never ever going to happen when you allow what happened since Donald Trump came in. The lying on TV that there was no crowds at his inauguration. The mainstream media is showing empty fields and telling the citizens of the United States that nobody was showing up. The Democrats didn't show up. And then 13 minutes after the inauguration, they start articles of impeachment. So in my opinion, until these people are held accountable for the crimes that they pulled on this country and still continue to do so, how are you ever going to get unity? How? And this is not, I'm not cheerleading for the Republican Party. I'm just saying, look what these people have done.
Right. Well, even within the Republican Party, I think what they're doing, and I like DeSantis, but he's not Trump. He hasn't proven himself to me yet that he's
nobody's Trump.
Right. And so, but I think all these people who are now jumping ship on Trump and saying, okay, fine, DeSantis is more palatable, I'll vote for him. And I almost feel like that's what Fox News is setting up, like it was Trump's fault for picking on DeSantis when that's not how it happened at all.
Yeah, well, there's an anti-Trump movement, and he's going to get hit from every side. And you know what? He doesn't care. He'll go he'll fight them all.
Right.
Fight them all. But
and I think that's a mistake for DeSantis. I think if DeSantis is going to be a viable candidate somewhere down the line, I don't think he can afford to get torn up by Trump.
And I think, really, if I had to make the call right tonight, I'd tell DeSantis to wait. like
would
vice president, or don't even run for president. Florida loves you. Stay a little bit longer in Florida, and let's groom him because he's still young. Let's groom him for the presidency.
Yeah.
Here's let me read a few things from the message board. Bill Nye says, "What if we took those IRS agents to the border and make expediting legal citizenship?" There is too many IRS too. I can't believe how much they've hired. I don't know why we need so many IRS agents, and I don't know why IRS agents carry guns. I don't.
They were
get it.
talking 87,000 they were going to hire.
Crazy.
87. Yeah, it's insane. It's insane. I'm for. I did you listen to Tulsi Gabbard last night?
I watched
Yes.
a little of her. Yes.
Do you hear what she said? Every one of these people that came in here illegally should be sent exactly back to where they came from. They do not deserve to be here. And the people go, well, they come from this. You know what? If you don't have a border, you don't have a country. And it's as simple as that. These people broke into our home, and then take our money besides.
And
They take medical insurance that I and you have to pay for. They get it for free. What have they done besides breaking into our home that they should get that?
It's amazing because every other country does have. I mean, Canada's not even. You know what I mean? Everyone else does this. Doesn't have a problem with it. Now, I know our border, it's tough. We got Mexico right there. I mean, we're set up in a horrible way. It's so big and so long. You know what I mean? But every country has standards that they do. I mean, they Canada themselves, and they're pretty liberal, they say. But not really the people, though. Go ahead, Robin.
I just think as long as we can't take care of the people in our own country, we have no business bringing in more people.
Let me, real quick, let me read some things, okay, from the comments. We got a lot. Annette says, always vote on the working families party line. We need other party lines that represent the people. Burdette says, it used to be a damn near crime to call someone a liar. And these other words that hold a lot of meaning on the floor, now they have no meaning to the words they use. Kim says, Trump at times did not say the right thing, but he was a great president for our country.
Yes.
Tina likes the conversation. Bill says legally, right? I don't know. Burdette says big, and I don't know what he was talking about there. He's laughing his ass off, and he says sorry. I'm not sure, but I guess, like, for me, I think Trump's appeal was to people. Look, I was a Democrat forever, for me personally, and I got out the minute I heard Biden say what he said about healthcare. That was it for me. As soon as he said he was not interested anymore in giving healthcare to people, I was done. What was the point? That was why I was a Democrat, because I always had believed that everyone should have healthcare. So, okay, I left. But then the reason why Trump appeals to me is, I said this before to you, Gerry, but I've never really said it on here, was because he didn't care when he was on the stage with Republicans. He told them how wrong they were about 9/11, how wrong they were about having that Patriot Act continue. He said it all.
Yeah.
And
he kicked their ass.
That appeal's a big deal.
He did. He went after, I mean, in all fairness, he went after the Republicans almost just as hard. And the guy, for what, I put it this way, when it comes to Trump, years before he ran, I remember watching his show on TV. What was that, The Apprentice or something?
Yeah.
And I was telling my wife, I said, we need somebody like this. We don't need the politicians. I'm sick of politicians. I want somebody who knows how to get people to work together, how to accomplish goals. This guy is an amazing machine when it comes to and that's who I wanted in here. And these people that have been in power forever, you saw what they've done. They had, like I say, the moment he came down the escalator, they went after him, his son Barron. He was 11 years old at the time. They didn't care. They went after his son, his daughters. They had Adam Schiff come out that he was with prostitutes and a movie. They said anything they wanted, and the mainstream media took it away day and night and kept pumping it into the American people. And it's still just as bad right now. I can't wait to see what he says tonight.
I agree, Burdette, term limits for everything. I mean, the president has them. Everything should have them. And I will say, Annette, I know what you're saying about parties. For me, I want less parties. I actually wish there was no part. For me, if I could destroy all parties, I would, because I can't stand any of them, no matter what they are. Rob, do you have any questions? Before, I mean, what do you got?
Yeah. There was so much talk that Roe versus Wade being overturned was gonna have an impact on these midterms. Do you think it had any impact, Gerry?
Yes. Yes, I think the abortion issue, it absolutely did. I think that, if you want to say hurt them, they used it, and not saying they shouldn't. I mean, because that's a hot that's a hot thing. But they did come out and explain, and I don't even want to get into the abortion thing, but they did say, like Europe, many France, something, it's like 10 weeks. After 10 weeks, you can't get an abortion. They were saying, the Republican Party saying, look, 15 weeks. You get 15 weeks. If after the week, no, you shouldn't get an abortion. So they made it clear. They said what they wanted to do, but what did the mainstream media pump out? If you get incest, rape, the Republicans are going to make you keep that baby. It was pumped all over television. They were saying, people said, they didn't say that at all. I mean, one person out west, or that woman out in Utah or something, said something like that. There would be no no matter what happened, you shouldn't kill the thing, kill the fetus. But the Republicans basically were saying 15 weeks. 50 would be because, and they said that was more liberal than Europe. So they made themselves clear whether you agree or disagree. They did, but the mainstream media, I turn on TV, they're going to the commercials. If you're
that kind of brings me to the.
Why don't you hold one second, Gerry? Will you stick around through the commercial and come back?
Yeah, you got money. Do I get money?
Let's go through the commercial. All right, good, because we got to talk to you a little bit more before this ends. Let me find the commercials. I'm always messed up. Here we go. We'll be back.
Digits 988 can save a life. If you or someone you know is having thoughts of suicide or experiencing a mental health or substance use crisis, 988 provides connection to free confidential support. There is hope. The Lifeline works. For 24/7 confidential support, just call, text, or chat 988.
Job.
All right, we're back. Welcome back to Robin Live with Gerry Delzoppo.
Gerry, thanks for hanging with us.
Let me read a few comments. There's some things that we should maybe address in the comment board. I'm gonna just go through them. Burdett Hayes, the great Burdett Hayes. He's one of our loyal sponsors.
Yeah, Burdett makes
Yep, and he says they didn't touch the subject that gave the Dems the strength to lie, saying all abortion. Dave Berzani says the rape and incest thing definitely hurt them. John says, in the beginning, I believe the loser in the presidential race became vice president, and they forced them to work together. Is the fact true or false? They do that in government. I know they do that in like gubernatorial races sometimes. Maybe not the loser, but they. Did you ever notice gubernatorials? Like sometimes the what do you call it? The I don't know, vice governor. I forgot what they call it. Lieutenant governor sometimes is of the other party.
Right.
Annette says the two main parties have lost their pulse. So much division, so many independent voters. Voting is important. We need stronger party lines. Gosh, Annette, I wish I could agree with you, but I get what you're saying. I just can't stand parties. They just drive me nuts. I feel like
independent.
I wish we could just be a bunch of independent. I wish we could just be ourselves and not a party.
Yeah.
Bill says, now I like all that. This is a different opinion, and we love it. His arrogance, he's talking about Trump. His arrogance is overwhelming. It's a turn off big time. Most world leaders do not respect him. Leaders must be respected. Dave Berzanti says a lot of young women voted in these midterms, and that is probably true.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. I think though, as long as the mainstream, I'm going to keep pumping this out, as long as the mainstream media is allowed to distort and lie and be in the pocket of any party, and they are in the Democratic, but how are you going to change anything? How's anybody going to have a fair shot? Because that's what they've done. They've sided with the Democratic Party. Just the Russian collusion thing alone, what they did and made him look like he colluded with Russia. They pumped the night and day. Stormy Daniels and her lawyer. The guy's in prison. Jesse Smollett. They carried that night and day. Jesse, anti-MAGA. The Covington Catholic High School kid. They almost got him killed. They reported. In fact, MSNBC or CNN, I forget, the reporters on there, instead of reporting the news, were saying how they'd like to slap that smirk off that kid's face. And it wasn't a smirk at all. The kid was trying to stay calm. That kid couldn't go to school. He had death threats against him. And now he's $250 million richer because he sued CNN. CNN, MSNBC, they almost got the kid killed. And what? It's to pump the Democratic narrative. Crazy. Yeah. That shouldn't happen. All I'm saying is it shouldn't happen with Republican or Democrat. Nobody should be lied about like that.
At some point, you know what I wish we would start doing is I like referendum voting too. I would really like to have a little more when you have these things. If you want to have states, like going to states, talking about abortions, let's say abortion stuff, talk about state rights, then if it's the state's rights, I would love to have a referendum voting. Let the actual people decide what they think. You know what I mean? That would be interesting because I got to tell you, you vote however you vote. And I don't know if my representative ever really represents me.
No.
At this point. I mean, so.
That's why I
go ahead, though, because we got only limited time.
That's why I can't vote up just straight either party because neither of these parties represent me. I've just, you just got to find the candidate that better represents you.
Right. Exactly. You just go for one that is closest to what you're thinking.
Right.
And Dave says something real fast that I agree with 100%. And this is what scares me about all of these people. Once you put a letter next to your name, you belong to the establishment. And, I understand. Real fast, Annette. Most mainstream media has provoked so much. It was used to huge advantage. Watch BBC, Al Jazeera, News Nation is a good one. Do your own research. The media has created this. Yes, support the candidate who represents you. Go ahead, Robin.
I just wanted to real quick, Gerry, I wanted to get your opinion on something a little more local. I wanted to talk to you about the New York governor's race.
Yeah.
Talking about abortion, the first thing that stood out to me, Kathy Hochul brought in about $50 million, and she spent a good chunk of it on these anti-Zeldin ads painting him as extreme and dangerous because on abortion. But from what I found in my own research, that wasn't true, what she was saying.
It was not true. There you go. There's my point. The mainstream media backs her. He couldn't even do those things if he wanted. He doesn't have the power to overturn that stuff.
Right.
He couldn't do it if he wanted, and he didn't want to. He was basically going to back what I said before, the 15-week thing. He said
Right.
they compared United States with other countries, Italy, France. They all say within you can get an abortion, but they don't want the baby's heartbeat and the baby's moving. They don't want that. So
Right.
Lee Zeldin, they crucified him, and that's what my point is. Why should they be allowed to lie to like this to the American people? And you know how people are; they don't listen to shit, and they're watching their TV with popcorn, and they're saying, "See that Lee? Look at that Zeldin. I'm not voting for him." And it's I don't know. It's very frustrating.
And that makes a good point. You know, she didn't win by much,
But
so she won, but. She didn't win by much. That's that's pretty weak, obviously, in New York State. How much did she win by? 5%? 6%? I mean,
Cuomo won by 24.
Well, and he would have won by 24 again if he ran again.
Right.
Zeldin probably doesn't run if Cuomo runs.
Zeldin got the most votes for a Republican since Nelson Rockefeller in 1970.
So
really?
That's got to send a message to, I would think, to New York Democrats.
Well, that's what. Yeah. It's funny because I kind of think New York went the exact opposite way in the midterms than the country went. Like, I feel like they painted Zeldin as the Trump candidate, and
sure they did.
And New York loved it.
And, well, you know what bothers me? I mean, yeah, but that's what I'm talking about. It's just they're a lying machine, and they get away with it. I mean, they get away with it. But what bothers me, being a New Yorker all my life, the number one tax state in the nation, right along with California, right? And the number one state for people fleeing, going to other states, going to red states, actually. Number one. And they keep pushing the Democratic button. You and I and everybody else are going to have to make up the tax. The people who've left, that tax now that they don't pay is going to come on us. We're going to get taxed out of our blood. They don't care. Those people do not care.
And that tells us Zeldin got 61% of the vote in Niagara County.
Yeah.
Now, why wouldn't he? Because think about what Hochul did to Niagara County by giving the money away from the Senecas to the Pagulas and telling Niagara Falls to forget it.
Oh no, the mayor says she's done so much good for Niagara Falls.
Yeah. And I just, that made me so angry. And I was just telling, I was just telling Andy, upset. If you voted for her, I don't know what you're thinking.
Right.
I mean, really, because in Niagara Falls, Niagara County, she took the money away. I don't know. Go ahead, Robin, because we got about 5-7 minutes left before.
All right, just real quick, Gerry, do you think Zeldin finds himself a place on the national stage at this point?
I hope so. I don't know but I hope so. I think he's a good man. I think Lee Zeldin's a good man.
I've heard rumors that he's going to be the national Republican chairman.
Yeah, I hope so. I think he's an honest, good man. Look at it. Look at the violence against him. And in front of his home, the guy tried to kill him on stage. You know what I found out? Not to jump the thing, but liberals are the most intolerant. I used to think if you're a liberal, you're very tolerant. I thought that's what it meant. It's the exact opposite. That's what I've learned in my brief 66 years on the planet.
Dang.
66. Yeah. Noel's laughing over here.
Oh, hey, Noel.
Dinosaur. They call me Daddy Dinosaur.
Dinosaur.
Never mind.
By the way, before we let Gerry go here, Noel, you're doing great stuff on TikTok and everything.
Thank you. I'm talking to my lawyer right now. We're getting everything together because, there might be a little bit of a court battle.
Yeah, I know.
Everybody's attacking Brittany right now on Twitter. Yeah, they're actually, because her response is that she wants to try to sue, they're all attacking her saying, wow, you ignore everything about your brother, but you're going to sue a victim. So she's getting shit for her own statement. I'm loving every second of it. And I look forward to her in court. I really look forward.
You've done a great job. We'll keep on helping. We'll keep helping you.
I don't call her Braveheart for nothing.
Right. Yeah. Why don't we on that just say goodbye to everyone? Because Gerry, you spent longer than I told you were going to stay, so thanks. Noel, of course.
I do have the gift of
you forever.
Bye.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Maybe once in a while, whenever you feel like you jump on Robin's show, whenever you like. That'd be fun.
Sure, but I need money first.
Robin, you got the money.
Yeah.
You go ahead.
I know you guys are loaded. No, I would go anytime you want me to chime in, I'd be happy to.
Thanks, Gerry.
Thanks, Gerry.
Take it easy.
Bye,
Good
guys.
job, guys.
Bye,
Good job.
guys. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
So that was Gerry Delzoppo, along with, and Annette wishes us a great week to everyone. Thank you, Annette. Kim says how beautiful Noelle is. And well, there you go. Great show.
Yeah.
I was glad to have Gerry. And anytime, anyone who's got an opposite opinion, I'd love, because I like to talk to everyone.
Yeah.
And the other side killed her on easy on crime and cashless bail. Right. Yeah. An anti-gun. Great show. Thank you, Kim. If you're out there and you may have the opposite, Bill Nye, not just him, anybody, please come on, because I don't know. I'm not looking to debate. I just like to listen.
Yeah.
I love to listen to the opposite side of everything, because I'm not on any side anymore.
Right.
I'm done. I don't care about nothing. About when it comes to politics and all that, I just don't care.
The way I
don't
feel
care.
right now,
I do what I think is right.
There, obviously, presidentially wise, there is a candidate that I feel enthusiastic about. So
Well, we'll see.
I support him, but I don't support the party.
That's the problem, and that is where I had a problem. As soon as it became, I'm going to do something with the Republican Party, I get really scared of that.
Yeah, I know.
I don't ever want to. My perfect person that will ever get me excited again will never do that. Will never want to become that and then want to try to change it. I don't want that. I just don't. And we should never be paying for that stadium. True, Dave. And that says you care. You vote your conscience. That matters, John. Yes, I do. I do vote that way. My disdain for the parties are so strong that I can't really put it into words. And because I think Democrats upset me so much with healthcare that I was done.
Right.
When that happened, I was absolutely out. That was it for me.
Yep.
But I don't go to Republicans and really care about them either, because there's a lot of things that I don't want to hear from them either.
Right.
So, I just, for me to ever join a party, it'll never happen. I can't do it.
No, me neither.
So I don't know I don't know where we are, people like us, or like others out there, because I get a sickness in my stomach when I go to vote, and one of those names, I don't care what initial is next to their name.
Right.
It really upset me, because I mean, Lee Zeldin could be whatever he is, but you know what I mean? Like, it still didn't feel good.
No.
I was just voting against that because of what she did to Niagara Falls and Niagara County.
Right.
I wasn't voting for him.
Right. No,
I'm voting against that.
Yeah.
So my voting from here on out is going to say, oh, it's snowing outside. Thank you, Annette. Stay safe, she says to us. That's what my voting has become.
Yeah.
Against you, not for you.
I guess that's where
we are.
Say presidentially, I feel differently. Like, that's how I voted for Lee Zeldin. That's how I voted for locally. I do feel a little bit more enthusiasm for President Trump, I have to say.
And I don't. I feel like I'm not saying it. I enjoy watching it. I love the spectacle of it. I do enjoy when I can see him go on a stage full of Republicans and tell Republicans, you screwed 9/11, you jacked up everything.
Right.
You know, the Patriot Act, those whole things. When he's saying that stuff, now you're speaking my language.
Right.
But I just don't care. No one makes me give a damn about with the minute you start telling me you want to become them, that makes me nervous. I don't want
I can't say that I'm not nervous about that, but I just see him differently. Like, Bill and I was talking earlier about, having respect as a leader. Like, for me, the fact that Trump isn't a politician.
See, I don't want him to become one.
Right.
That's my concern. I felt like and I think others will agree with me that we're pro-Trump too, or we're pro-Trump, whatever. Towards the end, and this last, he started to become a politician when he was towards the end.
Right.
And I know he got beaten down by COVID and all that stuff. But if he is going to run again, I hope he goes back to how he was in the beginning.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to his announcement tonight.
Hopefully he goes back to the way it was in the beginning, because that is the appeal.
Yeah.
The appeal is you are no good either.
Right.
Just because I don't like you over there on the blue side, you red, you're no good either. And so don't spike the football out
Right.
here.
When he had nicknames for
Nicknames,
Lion Ted.
But when he came right out and told them.
But that was why, because he caught Ted Cruz in a lie, so he called him Lion Ted.
But when he came out and told them about 9/11.
Oh yeah, Jeb Bush.
But that was what has to be said.
Yes.
And that's serious shit stuff.
Yeah.
That's not like, it's funny, but it's serious.
Mm-hmm.
You killed a lot of people on 9/11.
Right.
You know,
Americans and
everyone, the world. And you did what you did. So and you lied to the American people to make it happen.
Right.
That has to be said.
Yeah.
And you cannot tell me. I just don't want to see you go away from it. That's all, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Anyways, great show, Robin. Way to put that together. Mr. Delzoppo, Gerry, our friend, is great.
Yeah. Well, I knew I had an easy show once I asked Gerry last night if he would come on.
But I would say anyone else, please email or send a message to Robin or myself if you would ever like to come on and have your voice heard about, especially the national stuff.
I'd love to come on. You can come on and tell me what you want the topic to be. Just give me a little notice so I can prepare.
Yeah.
And I'll talk to you about anything.
I just there's a lot of sides, and I always like to hear them all. So on that note, Robin, we should probably say goodbye.
Yeah.
Be safe out there. As Annette told us, it's starting to snow a little bit. I don't know what's coming, but I'll tell you what, the grocery stores today told me we were having a something, it felt like end of time stuff. I thought people not just buying one loaf of bread. Now when I do Instacart, I end up having a lot of repeat customers.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed instead of one loaf of bread, they were buying 3. Like I was noticing like an incredible amount of stockpiling of stuff, and we do need to be part of the change. And that's about it, Robin. I think we're going to say goodnight to everyone.
Yeah, go Leafs, go.
Yeah, we'll watch the Leafs in a little bit. But I do want to thank everyone for watching. I'm glad everyone enjoyed our show tonight, Robin's show tonight. And we'll be back next week. Sorry we were gone for 2 weeks, but we'll be back next week. Also, Friday, don't forget Spitball and Sports podcast. Me and Scott will be on. Then, of course, Saturday, we have a great guest. If you know and watched WWF way back when, in the 80s and 90s, WWF and all that, Johnny Rods, who was a mainstay. You saw him a lot. You see him fighting guys like Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant and all that. Tony says goodnight to us.
Hi, Tony.
Hit the road, Snow. Don't you come back no more. That's what Kim says. All right, why don't we get the hell out of here? Take care, everyone. We will see you next week.
Hi, everyone.